G'day everybody, welcome to this lesson for Brianstorm by Arctic Monkeys. This song is just straight up quick, so it's going to take a bit of practice just to get it up to speed, but I've broken it down slowly so at least when you're practicing you know that you're getting the right notes. Let's jump on the kit and check it out. If you're here for this lesson, then I'm sure you want to check out that great tom beat at the beginning. But first up, let me just break down the rhythm on the snare drum so that then we can work out exactly what we're playing around the toms. So here's the rhythm just on the snare. I'm starting each of those 16th note combinations with the right hand so that when we put it on the toms, that right hand's going to move to the snare drum for beat 2 and beat 4. Let me show you how it goes. That whole first section focuses right around that tom groove. Every now and again we have that crash cymbal up on beat 1, but mostly we're down on the toms. Let me just play the last 3 bars for you because we have a stop before we go into the next groove. That brings us to our next groove, which is 16th notes up on the hi-hats, just to ensure that those forearms keep burning right throughout this entire song. The kick drum beat isn't too hard and it follows the riff. I'll break it down slowly so you can follow along. Just watch out for that one kick drum in the second bar that's going to line up with your left hand on the hi-hats instead of the right hand. Sometimes that can be a bit of a coordination challenge. When the lyrics come in, we break down that beat and we're just going to play some stops that go like this. After those stops, we are straight back into that 16th note beat again, and we carry that right throughout this verse. There's one little fill and one little sizzled hi-hat that I can hear, so let me play that fill now. Then the other change I can hear through this section is some sizzled hi-hats on the end, moving on to beat 1 or beat 3 on the crash cymbal, just like this. Once again, up to tempo, that is quite tricky to get those sizzles in there. So start them out slow, see if you can get them nice and clean before you work them up. But otherwise, if it is too tricky, you could just leave them out. Moving on, we've got a little fill right at the end before we hit back into our tom section, just like this. That takes us into our tom section once again, just the same as we've already played it, but I'll just whip through it again so it's locked in for you. And to end out this tom section, we're just going to stop on beat 1 on the snare drum like this. After that stop, we're back on the hi-hats playing 16th notes, and this is just the same as we did the first time around. We've got the same sort of fills and the same little sizzles moving up onto the crash cymbal as we did the first time. The next thing for us to look at is some stops on the snare drum, but these are really similar to when the lyrics first came in, so we've kind of already covered it. Let me show you. We go back onto the hi-hats, playing those 16th notes once again, and at the end of this section there's a great fill that's kind of broken into groups of 6, starting on the snare drum and the hi-hats as well. I'll play it for you slowly so you can follow along. Now we're up to the bridge, which is that great riff, and we're just going to get a little bit more frantic on the drums, playing every 8th note on the kick drums underneath those 16th note hi-hats. So we do have a stop after those first 2 bars. The next 2 bars we've got a little fill at the end, so I'll play that quickly. And then to finish out this section, we're going to play 1 bar of our tom groove, and then flip it and play 1 bar of our 16th note hi-hats, and then back to the toms, and then back to the hi-hats. It's quite challenging, but once again, you have to start slow, and then you'll be able to work it up. Let's check it out. To round out this frantic bridge, we've got one more rhythm that we need. We're just going to loop this rhythm. It goes 1 E and R, 2 E and R, 3 E and R, 4 E and R. It's going to go down on the snare drum and the floor tom, but towards the end, we're going to start moving those hands up onto the top tom just to get a different sound. Check it out. It might be tricky to keep count of that one, so if you can, underneath that rhythm, just count 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll really help so that you can line up the amount of bars that you need to get through that section. After that, we're back into our 16th note hi-hats, just the same as we've already done it, but there's one little different fill right at the end. I'll show you how it goes. Then the drums stop for a second. It's as if the song is over, but we're going to come in one more time with that great tom groove. I'll play through this whole outro for you slowly, and then up to tempo, and then we're done. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That last fill is just groups of 6 once again, starting on the snare drum. Anyway, that brings us to the end of Brianstorm by Arctic Monkeys. It is definitely a challenge to get that one up to speed, but take it very slow, work it up, and eventually you'll be able to jam it along. So have fun with it, guys. Happy practicing, and I'll see you at the next lesson.